Hello, YouTube fam. So, what I want to do with you guys is to start going over the tarot cards a little bit and trying to just put you in a position where you're going to be a lot more comfortable reading tarot for yourself and for others. So, how I'm going to do this is we're going to discuss a single card in the deck, and then I will finish off by doing a reading for you as a collective reading regarding this card. What I want to start with is the King of Swords. So what does the King of Swords entail? First of all, let's get started with the fact that we are magicians in life and death. And the King of Swords directly correlates with this, because what does this mean? In quantum physics, it means that something only exists when it is observed. And it is the same with our perspective of the world and our perception of the world. If we try to focus on something, we are going to notice it more often. If you try to tell yourself not to think about a red car, you're going to, one, think about a red car, and two, you're going to see more and more red cars. That's why every time you see collective psychic readings and somebody mentions that you're going to see a butterfly, your brain is going to go out of its way to find that butterfly. But at the same time, we are the magicians in life and death. We decide if we find that butterfly or if we completely avoid it, and this means that depending on what you focus on, you give life to something. And remember, just a reminder, just for you to know with your own story, with your own perception of the world, that we will worship anything that we give attention to. The reason why is because worshiping literally means giving attention to something. So pay attention to where your mind goes and what you give power to. That's important to the idea of the King of Swords. Now, onto the card itself. The King implies that being a master and returning focus to what matters. Because we give life and we give death to what we focus on, what we worship, and what we don't pay attention to or what we let slide, we become the kings in our lives. And because the King is the most mature card in the sword suit, that means that it's time for you to realize how you can ground yourself again, especially with your mind. Swords are directly related to the way that we think, the way that we speak. What we think about, we decide what we think about. We decide what we give life to, and that's exactly what the King implies. Our minds will wander. They will always wander. But it's a deep practice of how well you can come back to yourself and your values. This will determine how powerful you are in your self-perspective and manifestation practice, and that is why the King is the king that he is. He's the most mature card. He decides what he gives power to, what he brings power back to himself from, and what he gives life to, and what he worships. With all that being said, let's see what your King focuses too much on. What is it that your King can try to limit a little bit in their life? What is it that you should avoid a little bit more? And what is it that you're worshiping too much when you should be bringing that energy back to yourself? So bear with me. I'm going to find the King of Swords in the deck that I just shuffled and read the surrounding cards, which is not how I usually read. But I think that that's going to be a very important aspect in the way that you view yourself, the way that you view the world around you, and the way that you figure out what you are hyperfixating on. Because some things just you're giving too much power to, and you know it. And you really have to bring that energy back to yourself, but how can I help you bring that energy back to you? Your King of Swords is sandwiched in between two cards related to balance. The Justice card and the Temperance card. Not only is it time for you to balance out what you focus on and what you give power to, it's also time for you to get away from the idea that you should be somebody's karma. You are not responsible for anybody. The fact that you are thinking about somebody else and you're trying to get revenge on somebody else, or you're hyperfixating on their energy and trying to figure out what they are doing even though they're not meant to be in your life, you are giving them too much of your power. You are giving them too much of your attention, and as I said earlier, you are worshiping them. Even though you try to not focus on them, and you're trying to make it seem like you're moving on from something that no longer serves you, you are holding on to it by telling yourself that you're no longer holding on to it. Out of sight, out of mind. Stop stalking them. Stop thinking about them. Stop giving them your energy. They feel it. They feel it that you are giving them your energy. You need to stop trying to be somebody's karma and start bringing that energy back to you. At the same time, Temperance card. 14 could be an associating number, something that could be important to you. Also could be 5s, which is time for change. Time for you to change the way that you think about the world around you. Remember that what you give power to will have power over you. What you think about will have power over you. Balance. Balance out how much of yourself you give to others. Balance out how extreme you are being with your thoughts. That if something doesn't work out, that's it. That's the end of the world. If something doesn't go the way that you want it to, you just drop it completely. If something isn't perfect off the bat, you try to walk away from it. You try to avoid it. You try to not think about it anymore. Bring that gray area back to you. The gray area is so important being humans. As Alan Watts says, who I will reference a lot in these videos, there is no black and white area. It's all a gray area, because without the bad, there would be no good. And at that point, the bad can become something that is good. And sometimes too much of a good thing could be bad. Find that balance again. Find the balance in everything that you do. Find the balance and figure out how much you are giving your energy to other people, because it's time to bring that energy back to you. It's time to bring your attention back to something that actually fucking matters, something that you value. So take a look at how many things in your life you are hyper-focusing on because you don't like it. Even your algorithm, even the news. How much are you bringing into your life because you don't like it? That's the same thing as putting hate comments or putting negative comments on something and a post that you don't like. The algorithm thinks that you like it because you're interacting with it. And because of that, it's going to start giving you more negativities in your life. More posts that you don't like, but you interact with because you don't like them. It's the same in life. The more that you interact with something that forces you to go against your values, that forces you to become a factor that wants revenge rather than a factor that just wants to live their life, you are bringing more of that negativity. You are giving life to something that you don't want. So your King of Swords needs to figure out how to bring that energy back to a sense of gray area. Stop going to extremes in your thoughts, in your behaviors, in the way that you think the universe should be. It's never going to be black and white, and you can never make it black and white. You can only decide what to focus on. And again, the more that you focus on the negative, the more it is going to come back to you. So please make sure that you are aligning with the King of Swords and only giving power to the things that you actually want in your life. And that also goes to the way that you think about yourself, the way that you think about the universe. Our brains have a high-ass ego. The more that you talk negatively about everything, the more that your brain is literally going to align you with things that are negative because it wants to be right. Our brains will always try to find things that makes them right. So if you don't like being constantly negative, if you don't like constantly wasting your energy on somebody from the past or a job that rejected you, the more that you focus on it, the more that you're going to bring it in. Make sure you're cognizant of that. Make sure that your king stays upright so you don't lose sight of this, and stop trying to be other people's karma. You got this.